Thanks for sticking with us. I'm Dana Alexa. Acting Secretary of Homeland Security Chad Wolf condemned the roughly 6 weeks of ongoing violence in the Democrat-run city of Portland. Actually, today now marks the 50th day for protests in Portland now, and progressive Mayor Ted Wheeler put the blame on the president. Now, White House correspondent Jen Pellegrino is standing by with more. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning, Dana. Nice to be with you.
Nice to see you as well. Following the death of George Floyd, the city of Portland is crippling. It's in a constant state of unrest, and clearly the mayor has not been able to stop it. Yet when the president offered help, the mayor shifted the blame. What's the response to this? Why is he refusing to accept any help?
Well, you know, it's something we've certainly heard before in these Democrat-run cities. DHS Secretary Chad Wolf said in an interview that he reached out to the mayor earlier this week, offering support to help them address this ongoing situation that, as you said, has just crippled the city. Of course, the mission of DHS is to protect, support law enforcement, protect federal buildings. We know the president issued an executive order on protecting our buildings, monuments, and statues. And of course, Mayor Wheeler, he lashed back in a tweet. He said the federal officers incited the violence. Now, the response from Wolf is that the city of Portland has been under siege, as you mentioned, now 50 straight days by a violent mob while local political leaders refuse to restore order to protect their city. Each night, lawless anarchists destroy and desecrate property, including the federal courthouse, and they attack the brave law enforcement officers protecting it.
Now, Jen, this is getting a lot of attention on the media front, but what is coming from the White House? How have they proposed to quell the violence?
Well, you know, the president is a president of law and order, as he says so frequently these days. Of course, earlier this month, DHS did deploy officers from the U.S. Marshals, the Federal Protective Service, and then U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Mayor Ted Wheeler, he doesn't want any of that, and he responded in a news conference on Friday. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Over the past week, President Trump has used our city as a staging ground to further his political agenda, igniting his base to cause further divisiveness, and in doing so, endangering Portlanders.
And Dana, just after 6 weeks of this violence, if the city and the state couldn't get this under control, obviously the president wants to help out. They're denying that. And it's a very similar situation to what we saw just weeks ago in Chicago when the president sent a letter to the mayor and to the governor of the state saying, hey, we'd like to help out. Let's have a bipartisan conversation. Let's send in law enforcement. What can we do? And the mayor responded that she didn't want the president's assistance. Same thing's happening here in Portland. They don't want his help. And in Chicago this weekend alone, I would like to point out, those protests are continuing. Shootings are continuing. So far this weekend alone, 34 shot in that city and 5 dead. And of course, in Portland, that violence continues, and some really shocking, disturbing video coming out of Portland at this hour.
Such a shame. Thank you for that update, Jen. We can only hope law and order is reestablished in the city soon. Jen Pellegrino, live from Washington, D.C. We'll check in with you in the next hour. Thanks so much.